It's not about bidding wars anymore. It's about where people are actually moving. We're seeing a radical shift, the biggest population shuffle since the post-war boom. Forget your Zillow notifications for a second. The data from NAR and the Census Bureau for 2026 shows which cities are bleeding residents and which are absolutely bursting at the seams. Think you know the hot markets? You might be dead wrong. We've got metros like Boise and Austin, once darling destinations, now seeing their growth rates stabilize, even reverse in some cases, while places like Raleigh and Charleston continue their upward trajectory. This isn't just about affordability or interest rates anymore. The mechanics are deeper. A seismic change in why and where people are choosing to live, driven by hybrid work and a reevaluation of lifestyle. The implications for property values, rents, and investment opportunities are massive. Stay tuned, because understanding this great relocation is key to making sense of the entire housing market. All right, let's talk about something big. Something foundational that's been subtly reshaping our entire housing landscape for the last few years, and the data tells us it's still in motion. We're not talking about fleeting trends, but a deep, seismic shift that Redfin called the Great Relocation. Think about this. A March 2026 report from Redfin, citing Atlas Van Lines, highlighted that despite all the talk of mobility, overall moving rates are actually lower than historical norms. People are staying put longer, anchored by high housing costs and tight inventory. Yet, the long-distance moves? Those are holding steady. It's a fascinating paradox. We're not moving more, but when we do move, we're moving further. This isn't just a handful of remote workers anymore. We're seeing entire demographic segments rethinking where they can afford to live, how they want to live, and what their dollar actually buys them. This isn't just about where you work. It's about property taxes, insurance premiums in places like Florida and California, and the cost of basic groceries. It's about the sheer mathematical advantage of a lower cost of living, even if it means sacrificing some amenities. This story matters right now because the economic forces driving this relocation are intensifying, not dissipating. We're going to dive into exactly where people are going, why they're leaving, and what this means for your property portfolio, whether you're a homeowner, an investor, or someone simply trying to buy their first home. We'll look at the specific metros seeing the biggest influx and the unexpected challenges they're creating. Continued strong moves to the Sun Belt. What the numbers are really showing us is a mobility meltdown. Overall, American households are moving far less than at any point in recent history. A March 2026 article by Ali Drinkwart at Redfin, citing Atlas Van Lines data, highlighted this stark reality. In 2025, we saw approximately 15 million individuals relocate. That's a significant drop from 24 million moves just the year before, in 2024. This isn't just a blip, it's a sharp, undeniable decrease in overall population churn. Now, why are people staying put? The primary culprits are high housing costs and that ever-present limited inventory. When the median home price nationally hit $396,173 in April 2026, according to Redfin, even a 2.4% year-over-year increase feels like a mountain for many. People are simply locked into their current homes, often with historically low mortgage rates, making a move financially untenable. Why trade a 3% rate for a 7% rate on a more expensive house? It's a question millions of homeowners are asking themselves. It's a bit of a paradox, though, because despite this overall slowdown, long-distance moves are actually holding steady and in some cases even ticking up slightly. This suggests that while discretionary moves are down, there are still specific demographic shifts and life events, new jobs, family needs, retirement, that are driving cross-country shifts. So, while fewer people are moving, the ones who are often going further. This creates a fascinating dynamic. Local markets are stagnating, but these long-distance movers are still impacting destination markets in a big way, especially when we look at the price tags. Million individuals who were moving back in 2019. Now, even with fewer people relocating, the price tag on homes, especially in specific, highly sought-after regions, tells a story of intense scarcity and unwavering demand. Consider January 2026. California led the nation, yet again, with a staggering median home price of $706,333. This isn't merely about the allure of sunny beaches or Silicon Valley jobs. It's a fundamental imbalance between highly desirable metropolitan areas like San Francisco and Los Angeles and an incredibly limited housing stock, with new construction struggling to keep pace. Right on its heels, Hawaii also proved a top contender for high costs, reporting a median home price of $683,333 for the same month, reflecting its unique island geography and appeal to high-net-worth buyers. And let's not forget Washington, D.C., a concentrated hub of political influence, wealth, and finite space that consistently ranks among states with the highest median home prices, often exceeding states like New York or Massachusetts. Now, don't expect a massive correction or a sudden spike in the coming year. According to leading economists like Dr. Danielle Hale from Realtor.com, persistently high mortgage rates are actually acting as a stabilizing force, preventing any significant dip or surge in home prices throughout 2026. The national picture still shows upward pressure. Redfin data for April 2026 put the U.S. median home sale price at $396,173, a 2.4% increase year over year, illustrating a steady, albeit slower, ascent. So, while fewer people are moving, the places they can afford to move to are still seeing prices climb. This brings us to what Redfin's senior economist, Nino Paoli, called a great housing reset, anticipated to truly begin in late 2026, where we might finally see income growth start to outpace home price appreciation for the first time since the Great Recession. But about the sheer inability of supply to meet demand, leading to this kind of price rigidity. So what's the outlook for this shifting landscape? Realtor.com's 2026 housing forecast, published on December 2, 2025, by their esteemed economic research team, including chief economist Danielle Hale and senior economist Sabrina Spianu, paints a picture of a steadier, more balanced market ahead. They're predicting mortgage rates, specifically the 30-year fixed-rate average, to settle around 6.3% in 2026. Now, that's certainly not a return to the unprecedented pandemic-era lows of under 3%, but it does offer a slight, albeit crucial, easing in affordability compared to the 8% peaks observed in late 2023. This incremental relief, a potential reduction of $150 to $200 in monthly mortgage payments for a median-priced home, could be just enough to bring some sidelined buyers back into play. What does that mean for prices? Realtor.com projects median existing home sale prices will see a modest increase of 1.7% in 2026. That's a stark slowdown from the double-digit appreciation we became accustomed to during the 2020 to 2022 boom years, where markets like Austin saw over 30% annual gains. This isn't a crash, but a significant deceleration. For example, if you bought a median-priced home in Phoenix in 2023, you might have seen a 20% gain. In 2026, we're talking single digits nationally. Total home sales are also projected to rise, but only by 0.9%, reaching 5.25 million. This indicates a very gradual return to market activity, not a sudden surge. Redfin's 2026 predictions. Welcome to the Great Housing Reset, released the same day by their chief economist Daryl Fairweather, reinforces this, outlining a long, slow recovery where income growth will finally start consistently outpacing home price growth. This is a fundamental shift that could reshape the market for years, addressing the core issue of affordability for those who still want to move. So, with fewer people actively relocating and housing prices remaining stubbornly high, the critical question emerges. Who possesses the financial capacity to make a move in this climate? The Federal Reserve's May 2025 report on the economic well-being of U.S. households in 2024 paints a stark picture, confirming that housing represented the single largest expense for the majority of U.S. families throughout 2024. Despite these crushing financial pressures, a significant 65.8% of adults own their homes, according to the report. While this percentage might initially sound positive, it actually highlights a powerful lock-in effect. Existing homeowners are staying put, often tethered to historically low interest rates from their original mortgages. Moving means confronting a new mortgage at significantly higher prevailing rates, sometimes double or triple their current rate, or paying a substantial premium for the increasingly scarce and desirable inventory available. This potent combination of soaring housing costs and critically limited supply is precisely why overall mobility has plummeted to near historic lows, according to analysis by the National Association of Realtors. It's a self-reinforcing cycle that actively impedes new, first-time buyers and even existing homeowners from making a strategic move. Consider the data from Ujala Umair's comprehensive 2025 Moving Industry Report. Over 726,000 moving quotes were generated nationwide last year. Yet, the actual number of individuals and families who successfully relocated dropped by a substantial 18% compared to the peak in 2021. That's a massive discrepancy, indicating that a significant portion, well over 100,000 households, who explored the logistics and costs of a move ultimately decided against it, overwhelmingly due to affordability constraints. It's not a lack of desire to move. It's that the current economic math simply doesn't add up for them right now. This dynamic is creating a profound impact that ripples far beyond just the raw numbers. Million individuals who were moving back in 2019. Now, even with fewer people relocating, the price tag on homes, especially in specific, highly sought-after regions, tells a story of intense scarcity and unwavering demand. Consider January 2026. California led the nation, yet again, with a staggering median home price of $706,333. This isn't merely about the allure of sunny beaches or Silicon Valley, but about the sheer inability of supply to meet demand, leading to this kind of price rigidity. So what's the outlook for this shifting landscape? Realtor.com's 2026 housing forecast, published on December 2, 2025, by their esteemed economic research team, including chief economist Danielle Hale and senior economist Sabrina Spianu, paints a picture of a steadier, more balanced market ahead. So, with fewer people actively relocating and housing prices remaining stubbornly high, the critical question emerges. Who possesses the financial capacity to make a move in this climate? The Federal Reserve's May 2025 report on the economic well-being of U.S. households in 2024 paints a stark picture, confirming that housing represented the single largest expense for the majority of U.S. families. Beyond the raw numbers, these shifts in moving trends are profoundly impacting personal choices, weaving a complex human story. When we talk about a decrease from 24 million moves in 2024 to 15 million in 2025, we're not just discussing statistics. We're talking about millions of individual stories of deferred dreams, of families choosing forced stability over the uncertainty of a move. Think of a hypothetical couple, the Millers, in Nashville. They've wanted to upgrade from their starter home for years, but with a median sale price of $440,000 in April 2026, a 3% increase year over year according to Redfin data, and 30-year fixed mortgage rates hovering around 6.5%, the cost of entry has simply outpaced their savings and income growth. They're locked into their current home, essentially becoming economic prisoners of their mortgage rate. Yet, amidst this, we see a crucial distinction. Long-distance moves are holding remarkably steady. This suggests a segment of the population still has the means or imperative to relocate, typically for significant job opportunities, corporate transfers, or critical life events that outweigh the prevailing housing market challenges. It's less about a broad, great relocation in the pandemic sense and more about a strategic, highly cost-conscious movement by a smaller, more financially secure segment of the population. These are the individuals with substantial equity, significant savings, or high-earning jobs that can absorb the current market realities. The dream of a fresh start for many has become a luxury for the few. And this dynamic has profound implications for local economies and communities across the country. Lay's tech boom. This is a fundamental narrative of supply-side constraints battling unrelenting demand, reshaping what homeownership means for a generation. The Great Relocation, then, isn't just about people packing boxes and moving states. It's a complex, multi-layered story of generational affordability, the financial lock-in effect, and a stark reevaluation of the American dream of mobility and homeownership. It's forcing individuals and families to adapt, whether that's through extending their commutes, renting longer, or redefining what their ideal home truly looks like. Have you personally experienced this affordability crunch, perhaps feeling locked in by your current mortgage rate, or struggling to find a move-up home in your desired market? Drop your story in the comments below. I want to hear how these macro trends are impacting your micro decisions. And if you're looking for more data-driven breakdowns of these critical real estate shifts, hit that subscribe button to get regular updates. If you found this dive into relocation and affordability illuminating, my deep analysis of the Phoenix Metro's inventory surge and its implications for 2026 home prices is exactly the next video you should watch.